Okay, thank you. Let's begin. So in our previous class, let me go up this slide. Um, okay, we've done comparison operators where we looked at the different types of operators. We also did logical operators where we talked about the three basic logical operators. That's the and, or, and then the not. Then we looked at increment and decrement. And we said these two guys can happen pre and post, right? We looked at those. We then went further to look at conditional statement. I believe this is what we did in our previous class, where we looked at if else, if else, and then we looked at switch to be an alternative for if else, right? We concluded that switch makes your work cleaner and more readable. Then, okay, we looked at if else. So today's class will be looking at loops. Loops. Now, when you're talking about loops, it's like I keep referring it to our everyday life activity. When we wake up, for most people, the first thing they do is they brush. Some people, the first thing they do is they pray. So it's like consistent thing that keeps happening, right? So most of the activities in our life, they are just full of repetitions. You just see us repeating same thing over and over and over and over again, right? So that's also works in the world of programming. So imagine, let's say I want to write numbers from 1 to 100. Then I'll just write console.log print and console.log 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Imagine how long that's going to be, right? But with the help of loops, with just 2, 3 lines, I can have a code being repeated, a block of code being repeated for a particular number of times, right? So in programming language, to carry repetitive tasks, we use different kinds of loops. And then in this class, we'll be looking at some of the loops when we use basic loops we use in JavaScript. Right. So we'll be basically looking at for loop, while loop, and then the do while loop. Right. Let's just go down this slide, and then as usual, we'll go to our VS Code and see the implementation of all these guys. So this is what we'll actually be talking about tonight, this loop statement. So we have for loop. So this is basically the syntax for loop. It has an initializer, a condition, then a final expression. Don't worry if this doesn't make sense. When we get to VS Code, all of this is going to make sense, I promise. Then we have the while loop. While loop. So here we see we have a variable. Remember we've talked about let. We declared I to be equal to 0. So we're now saying that why I is less than or equal to 5. Remember, I've also discussed comparison operators. Right? You see everything we learned, we are now trying to bring it together. So now it's just why this thing is happening. If, for instance, if I is 1, is 1 less than 5? If yes, print this block of code. That's console.log I, then I plus plus, then increment I, so that the next instance of I is no longer 1, but 2. So now 2 is 2 less than 5 and all that, right? Then we'll look at that. Then we have the do while loop. These two guys seems to be like the opposite of each other, right? The do while and then the why. So for the why, for the do while, we are actually telling the console to print I to increment it before even checking if it is less than 5. Right? Now it's like it's happening before the condition. But the previous guy, why? Is like if this condition is met, then do it. But if it is not, break the code or don't execute it at all. But this guy now executes and then run a check. So if the checks true, it goes back and execute again. So that's it for the while loop, right? So let's go to our VS Code and see what this is all about. As usual, let's bring up our sticky notes. Sticky notes, sticky notes. sticky note, we'll be looking at for loop and then while loop. Then we'll look at do while loop. All right, there was something I said here. I want to take this to VS Code as well. So I explain this more practically. So as usual, I'll be making use of my Git batch. Git batch. Then let me zoom this so you can see. Checking my current working. Okay, this I am. From here, I can easily navigate to my desktop. Then on my desktop, I can check the folders. This is the folder we've been working with, IT Skills Center. I can navigate into that folder, IT Skills Center. All right, I'm currently inside the folder. Let me open this very wide. I'm currently inside the folder. So I can check. Yep. So we continued with JavaScript class 3 yesterday. So let's still navigate into that folder. JS class 3. So these are the files that are inside that folder, right? So let me open this folder, this particular folder with our VS Code. Voila, VS Code is here. Let me minimize our terminal for now. Let's see our code. So let me open this guy with our live server so we'll see our work as we go. Okay. Let me split my screen. Then open the console. Position it very well. This guy. This console. Okay. So open our JS. I can close this tab here. Instead of having 4, let me change this to JavaScript day 5. Then instantly you can see the changes, right? Because we are using our live server. Okay, so let me comment out these other guys from our previous class. Shift-A. Okay, a sticky note. Yep, there. All right. So today we are looking at loop statements. And the first guy on our list is the for loop. Okay, the for loop. Yeah, there was something I said I was going to explain. Where is that? Okay, yeah, this is it. The for loop. Okay. So I said this is the basic syntax of the for loop, right? We have the initializer, we have a condition, and then a final expression. Okay, let me comment this quickly. Okay, let's say I want to print numbers from 1 to 10. That's not, or 1 to 5. Let me not waste our time. So it's like writing, okay, let's from 0 to 5. So ideally, if you do console.1, that console.log 060 in a terminal, so then we could have 1, we could have, let me copy this and make use of it. We could have this as 2, we could have 3, we have 4, we have 5, yeah, continuously. So we have all these numbers printed in our console. But this is just mere repetition of we are just doing the same thing, console.log, and then just putting different values in between here. What if we have a condition that runs this thing automatically, right? That's where loop statement comes into play, right? You write a statement that perform a particular action repeatedly, right? Instead of you going through this route of doing console log up to 5-6 times, right? So we don't want to go this route. So that's where we now said, okay, we want to make use of loop statement. And the first loop statement we are discussing today is a for loop, right? And to this basic syntax, this is the basic syntax that's up here, right? We say we have, it begins with a for keyword, then in bracket it has an initializer. It's like you declaring a variable, right? We could say something like let I equal to 0. That's the initial value of I, of this variable. I is equal to 0, right? Then semicolon, end of that particular command. Then the next one now is a condition. So I want this thing to happen when I is less than or equal to, let's say, 5. Sorry, this is equal to 5. This is a condition, and this is a comparison condition, right? We are comparing, is I less than or equal to 5, right? Then after that, we can have a final statement. Then, which means the next line is we could do something like I plus plus. Okay, let me go inside my console and then print. Now I can easily write console dot log. I want to make use of the backtick so that we get conversant with this guy too. Number, $, curly bracelet. Then here I can put in my I. Remember I is a variable, right? So immediately I say you can see number 0, number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5 with just these 3 lines. So what's happening here? I said the initial value of I should be equal to 0. That's the initializer, right? I can change this thing to begin from 2. Now you see it started from 2, 3, right? This is just the initializer, your initial. Where do you want to start from? Okay, I want to start from 1. So it started from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then the next one is a condition. So it initially started from 1. So it now entered the next condition. Remember I is 1. So is 1 less than or equal to 5? The answer is yes. 1 is less than 5. So immediately it will now print this, it will now print number 1. That's how we got this one. So the final expression, then the next expression that will run is this increment, right? It will now increment. Remember, I've done increment. This is post increment, right? It will now increment. So now that it has, the next time we are calling I again, I is no longer 1 because of this increment. I is now 2. So it will come to this condition and check, is 2 less than 5? If yes, then come down here and print number 2, right? Then it will now go to the final expression, increase it again, I plus plus, as I now becomes 3. So it will come back and check this condition again. Is 3 less than 5? Yes, it will now print number 3. It will now go to the final expression again, increase 3 plus 1, 4. So I is no longer 1 now, but I is what? 4. So you come and check, is 4 less than 5? Yes. So you now print number 4. So it will come back here to the final expression. 4 plus 1 becomes 5, right? So now it will run this condition again. Is 5 less than 5? No, but it's equal to 5 is equal to 5. That's why it will now print number 5. So the final expression again to add again. 5 plus 1, this is 6. The next I that is coming in is now 6. Is 6 less than 5? No. Is 6 equal to 5? No. Then the code break. That's why we now have only numbers printed from 1 to 5. With this now, I can even print numbers from 1 to 100 just by increasing this. You see, we have number 1, 2, 3 down to 100, right? So basically, you can use this to perform. Maybe let me try another cool scenario with this guy now. Let me think of something. Okay, let's say maybe I want to generate something like this. Oh, let me show you what. Let's say I want to generate something like maybe 1 times 1 is equal to 1. 2 times 2 is equal to 4. And then 3 times 3 is equal to 9, then 4 times 4 is equal to 16, then I have 5 times 5, 5 is equal to 25, right? We can achieve this using this loop, right? Let's try it out. Let's see how possible this is. Okay, I've not tried this, but I know it's possible. Let's see. Okay, we could have a loop like this 4. Let's remember I is a variable. We can give it anything, right? Let me call it x this time around. Let x equal to, I want to begin with 1. So let me say let x, my initial value of x is 1, right? So I want this thing to happen y x is less than or equal to, let me even shift it up to 10, right? Then the next instance is I want you to increment x. Okay, then I could do something like console.log. Let me use backtick. Okay, I could have my $sign here. This is x space. This is like, let me put asterisk here, multiply by $sign curly bracelet x. This is equal to curly bracelet, $sign curly bracelet x asterisk x. I feel this should work. Let's save and see. Voila, it worked. So this is just with this one line, we're able to generate this.
Like, don't understand the how you come.
Your
Please let me
background is
type
echoing.
because of the echo.
Okay. All right. Any other question? Okay. While we wait for his question, let's proceed to the next guy. That's number 2, the while loop. The while loop. The while loop. For the while loop, we said the syntax is why you now specify your condition here. If this condition results to a true, then this thing should happen, right? If this condition results to a true, then this thing should happen. Okay, let me comment out this guy here. Okay, I'm trying to see how I can generate this same value, this same time multiplication table using the while loop. Okay, I think he has dropped this question. I don't understand the backtick illustration. I think you didn't attend our previous class and you didn't watch the video. Because I think we talked about this. Somebody asked me this question and we talked extensively about it. Yes, yeah. Just kindly go see if you could watch our previous videos. But please do me a reminder. Okay, let me just run by it quickly, right? Yeah. Okay, the backtick. The backtick. Oh, backtick. The backtick. The backtick helps us. You see this particular condition, right? I can as well write it as console.log. Console.log. Let me comment this guy out. See, okay. Everything is working fine. Let me comment this. I can write this condition as console.log x plus column space rather plus, no, let me put asterisk in between here, plus x equal to, sorry, plus again, quotation equal to x asterisk x. Okay, there's a plus here. Plus. Let me save this. You see that same table is generated. Let me reduce this number to 5. You see, right? It still works. But now, imagine the stress of trying to go through this and ensure that you do not forget a plus, or, yeah, you do not forget. Look at, we have written 1, 2, 3, 4 of this plus sign. Imagine the stress of going through. So now the modern JavaScript now provides us with template literals. These are called template literals. You may want to do your research and saying templates. Template literals, right? So these are called template literals. So, but with template literals, I can easily make use of the dollar sign and the curly bracelet to easily write, call in my variables here, right? Remember when we were talking about strings, if you have not watched that video, you could also look at the video we discussed data type. We said the string, you can use different methods of writing your string. You could use either the double quotation, single quotation, or the backticks, right? And then I try to illustrate the difference and why, what to use at what point, and why you should use what you intend to use, right? So maybe you should still check out that video. It's still going to assist in the explanation. But basically, this backtick, this is what it does. It saves us from this stress. With the backtick, we can easily access call in these variables here using the dollar sign and the curly bracelet. So if I comment this and save, see there's nothing in my console. If I uncomment this, see this still works. It still works, right? So this backtick guy just saves us from this. Thank you. Okay, I'll watch. Great, please do watch it. It's gonna help, right? Yeah. So basically, I wanted to see how we can use the while loop to achieve this same multiplication table here we did, right? So say it usually has its own condition here. So we can come up here and say something like, okay, let me use y this time around, y equal to 1, let y equal to 1, and then we place our condition here. And our condition is y should, for this particular block of code to run, y should be less than or equal to, let me stop at 5. So then let me just console.log, let me console.log y. Then, okay, but if I just do this, am I missing something? Console.log, am I missing something? Okay, let me say I do y plus plus. Okay, I don't know why this guy is still rolling. It's still rolling non-stop. Okay. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Let me try to stop this and open it again. Okay, then I'll explain that behavior. Why that we got that. Let me open this guy again. Great. Now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so why did I get that? Because my loop, there was no terminating point. So it was running to infinity, and assuming I did not stop it at some point, it will slow my system. And then, yeah, if you don't stop it, it's like it will consume the entire process on your system, and a lot of things may go wrong, right? That's okay. What did I mean by we did not terminate? This is what I mean. We said let y equal to 5, sorry, equal to 1. When y is less than or equal to 5, we should console.log y. We didn't include this guy, this plus, right? This plus is the one that helps us terminate this block of code. How does it help us terminate? Okay, let me explain how it helps us terminate, then we'll go back to the not terminating part of it, right? So now at this point, y is 1. Y is 1. Is 1 less than 5? Yes. It will now console.log y. And what is y? Y is 1. That's why we got the first one that is here. The first one that is here, right? Then it will now, the next code, the next statement to execute is this. It will now do increment. We have talked about this increment, right? This is a post increment. So that the next time we are referring to y, y is no longer 1 now, but y is 2, because there was an increment that happened here. So it's 2 less than 5, yes. That's why it now do console.log 2. That's where we're getting this 2, right? Then this statement will execute again, incrementing 2 to 3. Then the next time, it's because this is a loop, so it's going to keep running this loop until this block result to a false. But if it does not result to a false, it means it's going to keep on running. So coming back again, y is 3. Is 3 less than 5? Yes. So it will now console.log the 3 we're saying here. Then this statement will execute. That's the 3 will be incremented by 1. Then this block will run again. Is 4 now? Is y which is 4 less than 5? Yes. So it will console.log 4, then increment 4. At this time, y is now 5. It will come back again to this block. Is 5 less than or equal to 5? Yes, it is equal to 5. So the equal to part of it succeeded. So it's equal to 5, right? Okay, something just popped up my mind, but let me finish explaining this, then I'll try to illustrate. So is 5? Yes, 5 is equal to 5. So this will now run again, console.log 5. That's where we are getting 5 here, right? Then it will now increment y is 6. So coming back here, is 6 less than or equal to 5? False. So because this block has resulted to a false, so this condition has resulted to a false, this block will not run, it will terminate. But when I didn't include this guy, there was no terminating point. That's why you saw my browser keep on reloading and reloading and reloading, right? Let me comment it out. You see what will happen again. Let me save this. Can you see? You notice this is still reloading and consuming. Now look at the number of times this code has run. Can you see the number of times this code has run? So, and if I don't terminate this process, I'm going to, yeah, it's going to consume a lot of memory on my system, and so many things may go wrong, right? Okay. Yeah. Okay. Where's my network? Network. Yeah, my network bar is not. Let me just close this guy. Yeah, but you have seen the number of times that code was running, over 5,000 times. So imagine a particular process running your system over 5,000 times. What will happen to your system memory, right? So basically, that was why we got that loading. But now that there's terminating point, you saw it run and then it stop. Would increase it to, let's say, maybe 10, it will still run and stop, right? So then trying to implement this, it's still the same procedure, right? You could just come here and maybe if I just copy this line, you already have explained this line and dump it here and change this from X to Y. This is Y, and then this is Y, and then this is Y. I save this. See, we've gotten that same table using the Y statement. So basically that is it for Y statement. Any questions before we move to the next guy? Any question? If there's no question, you're enjoying the class, please do let me know so that I know that I'm doing justice to all this concept.
Sir, there is question on this for loop.
Okay, I'm listening.
How you generate the multiplication table? I don't understand those. Please, if actually you can come again.
Okay, just look at it very closely now, right? Very closely. Let me comment this line as a matter of fact. You already know what console.log means. right? Then I've explained backtick because the backtick help us to, these are template literals. They help us to easily call in our variables here. So now what I want to write is, let me clear this. This is what I want to write. I basically want to write maybe 1 asterisk 1. So to write this 1 asterisk 1, I'm going to come here and say, okay, $sign, $, curly bracelet. Remember, the initial value of y is 1, right? So I'll now put in y. So this y I've $sign y I've written here simply means this one. So then I need this asterisk sign, right? I could now put in the asterisk sign, or I could just even use my normal X on the keyboard, right? But the computation is not happening here, right? This one is just some sort of design, right? So I need times 1 again. Remember, y is still going to be 1. So which means this is y and this is 1. So I paste it here. So I now, okay, the next thing I want to write is equal to. So I just come down here, space equal to. I've not done anything. So see, if, let me comment out this guy here and save. See what we have. It's just 1 times 1 equal to 2 times 2 equal to. The answer has not come yet.
Okay.
But now, why is this value changing? It's because initially it is 1. So when it now check, is 1 less than 10? Yes. So at this point, the value of y is 1. So what I'm having 1 here. So it will now go to the next line and then increment y. So it will become 1 plus 1. That's 1 incremented by 1. It becomes 2, right? So it comes back to this condition. Is 2 less than 10? Yes. So now the next value of y that's come here is no longer 1 because there was an increment that happened at this stage. What is coming now is 2. That's why you see the next line having 2. Right? So to get my answer, right, remember, if we do something like console.log, I think we have done this when we are looking at operators, JavaScript operators. I think we looked at this. We looked at some basic arithmetic. We talked about addition and the like. So if I do something like 3 asterisk 3, I save this. Can you see the 9 that's giving me
6.
down here? Right? No, it's 9. It's multiplication.
Yes.
Yeah,
It's
right?
9. Yes, sir.
So now, that is where
Yes,
I
sir.
want to do that computation. So now, coily bracelet, $sign, coily bracelet. So this is where I'm actually doing the calculation. Y, that's 1, asterisk y, and now save it. You now see it. Now this is where the computation is happening. Let me change this thing to a plus. You see what will happen. Plus. Can you see? This is basically what is calculating is 1 plus 1 is 2.
Plus
2
1.
plus 2 is not 4. So maybe I
It's
can
2.
come here and change this plus as well. You see that I've ended up generating 1 plus 1, 2, 2 plus 2, 4, 3 plus 3, 6, blah, 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 5 plus 5, 10, and all that. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Great. Any other question before we move to the next item? Sticky note, where are you? Sticky note says the last thing is do while loop. Do while loop. So basically, you may need to take your time, practice all these things, right? So because I kind of feel your assessment, your technical assessment will cover you manipulating data, writing
Hello, Mr.
functions and
Samuel.
yes, sir.
Sorry. I was trying to talk since, but my mic was misbehaving. So I got one question. So that means we can change the asterisks for normal X sign as multiplication.
The one here, right? Remember, this one is just a
Yes, what you
decoration.
just used now. You know, the one you used before, you used asterisks, and it gave you the same.
Yeah. So this one is just a decoration. It's just me writing something. So see, let me change this plus and write plus here. You see, 1 plus 1.
Multiplication.
Sorry? So this one is basically
Hello, Mr. Samuel.
A decoration, it's just a write-off, right? This is where the actual thing is happening. Yes.
Okay. So it's in the computation that whichever one you use now will now reflect the result.
Yes. Whatever you use here, that's what's going to reflect the result. If I use division here, you see what it's doing? 1 divided by 1.
Okay. Plus. Now, okay.
1, 2 divided by 2, 3 divided by that, right?
Okay.
So if it's,
Thank you.
If it's a plus,
it's understood now.
Great. All right. So let's look at do while. Do while loop. Okay, for the do while loop, it wants to behave as though it's the opposite of this guy. Let me comment this so that we'll have a clean console. Because for this guy, it's basically running a block of code. Running a block of code before checking a condition, before it checks the condition. So maybe we could have something like maybe const. Sorry, let's not use const. Why are we not using const? Remember, this addition sign that is happening here is changing the value of y. But a situation where, okay, let me go back to that guy and let me show us something quick here. Let's say I change this to const. You see, I'm going to get an error in my console. Let me comment this. Can you see? Yeah, it ran the first time. Second batch didn't run. Look at assignment to constant variable. I think I've shown us this error multiple times. It's because it's in a constant variable and you cannot change the value of a constant variable, but you can change that of let. If this is not clear to you, please do go back to the video where we talk about data declarations and variables. It's going to make more sense, right? All right, so let's go down here. Okay, so we could have something like const z is equal to 0. Let's say 0. Then we can say, okay, do what are you doing? You're logging console.log z. So after you console.log z, that's where you're going to check is z less than or equal to 5. Meanwhile, let me see. Sorry. We now set our breakpoint. That's z plus plus. Why am I having this? Why expected? Let me see. Okay, sorry, there's a keyword here. Why? Yeah, great. Just give me 0 and then stop. I want to find out why. Oh, yes. After explaining this thing, I came back and I did the same mistake. Assignment to constant variable. I said instead of let. You see how it works, right? So basically what this guy is doing is running this block of code. Then he now checks this condition. So the first time z is 0. Remember this one, what the for loop was doing is, for loop, it would take the initializer, that's the initial value, check the condition before running this block of code. But do while runs this block and then check, right? Okay, let me put 6 here for instance. Look, it printed the 6. But see, 6 is not less than 5. 6 is not equal to 5. It actually ran this block before it did the check. Right? So basically, this is it for do while, right? It runs a block of code before running a check to see if the condition results to 3. But let's say as what we had here was 4, for instance. You see, we are going to have 4 and 5 because the first instance 4, right, came here, it now checked, it now prints 4 here, increment 4 to 5. So what is coming in this condition is 5. Is 5 less than or equal to 5? Yes, 5 is equal to 5. Then it now come back again and do. So it will print the 5. Then it will increment it to 6. Then run this, check this condition. At this time, it's going to result to a false. Then this will now break. But the first instance is going to run the block before doing the check. But why does the check before running the block? Do why runs the block before running the check. That's just the difference. I hope this makes sense. So any question before we wrap up for today? And please, I would really appreciate if maybe we'll join the class in time so we can always cover a lot of concepts. Because our technical assessment, I think it's not, it's close by the corner. And there are some concepts we need to understand, then we play with a little algorithms so that you feel comfortable working around algorithm questions. Any question?
Yeah.
Great.
I'm not too clear with this do while loop.
Okay. Okay, do while it's kind of an annoying loop, right? For this particular guy, it's like let me look for a typical real life scenario. Something just pop up my mind. But please don't judge me by this thing I'm about to say right now. It's as good as a man blindly marry a wife without knowing if the wife can give birth or not. Thus, the marriage happens, then you now check if the wife can give birth. Or the marriage happens, then the wife now check if the man can actually impregnate a wife. But for this guy now, this man is, or these couples run a total check of their health status before going into marriage. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Great. Any other question? No question. Okay, so in our next class, basically we'll be looking at arrays. We'll look at arrays. We'll try to look at arrays in details. We'll look at functions and objective time permits. So that I think with that, we should be able to round up with some of those core fundamentals we need to understand. Then we'll start looking at how to attempt algorithm questions, where I'll look for real life algorithm challenge and we'll try to solve the puzzles together. So please, I would really advise maybe in our next class, we'll try to join time. Tomorrow, I wish to take a break, but maybe from, I don't know which other day the coordinator would decide from next week.